Hey there, it's Jeannie. Blaha with Walk with Your Angels and JoyFlames.com. Thanks for joining me. How was your March? Remember, we were all about maintaining our peace. Meaning we could stay in that frequency no matter what was coming at us or what we were attracting, right? And then where are we going from here now in April? So you might be understanding some things here as it's coming down the pike, those triggers that you were facing, the things you were walking through, some of the old flashbacks of just evidence of, oh gosh, I still got this thing that's hanging around and I can see it happening again in my life 25 years later or whatever. So where are you going with it this month? Have you noticed a difference in how you are reclaiming that stance, right? Because we all have it. Everybody comes in with a stance of assuredness, of certainty, of knowing your absoluteness of your connection to your light, to your love, to your community, to your family, until it starts to get disrupted. Until we start getting convinced that it can't be that way. Until we start being taught that strife is just part of life, that you just have to fall down as many times as it takes, that people are going to be mean to you, that there's going to be cruelty, there's going to be violence, and etc., right? Instead, what are we not being shown at those ages? We're not being shown that, guess what? No matter what is coming around us, where we live in the world, what community we happen to be born into, that you can still reclaim your power or retain it, which is even more solid, right? So we get shaken up a little bit. We start believing, I don't have a say in this. I don't have a choice. There's no other opportunity for me. Look where I was born. Look how I was raised. Look at the stuff that was going on in my family. This is just how it has to be. This is the reality, right? No, that is not what it is. So April is probably challenging you a bit to question that. Say, wait a minute, even if I am walking down the street and something drastic happens, or I'm driving down the freeway and this person just flipped me off and it cut me off and looks like they're trying to hurt me, how am I going to react to that? What is going to be your response? Am I going to go back down that road of chasing that person down back, seeking some vengeance, seeking some, I'm going to prove something to you, I'm going to defend myself? Even defense has to come from ego. And it's not about getting walked on, trod upon, mouthed over, or any of that nature. It's really about reclaiming our power or maintaining it. Once you feel it, that you're in this stance, does it take a lot of volatility? Does it take a push and shove thing? Does it take a sense of, oh, I think I'm going to have to do something really eruptive about this in order to get that person to see something? No. Actually, it's quite the opposite according to those in quantum. Your power is your peace. Your power is your love. It is not in the sense of having these erratic reactions to things, to having a sense of, I'm going to have to do something really wild about this in order to get it across, or I have to really be verbal about this. You know what? There's a lot of power and energy. And where is that power? It's maintaining your stance. Standing in there, holding the space. And even as you're doing this, when you decide, I'm going to stand in my power here, I'm not going to do anything about this. You're going to remind those that you're encountering that they also have that way of handling their power. It doesn't have to be this great violent eruption. It doesn't have to be this crazy dialogue on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, where it gets into this tit for tat thing where everybody's going to mow each other down and not be able to hear each other anyway, right? Because do we ever hear anybody when we're blasting? No. There's no possible way that you could be hearing any kind of exchange happening where you can come to a common ground even. So April, consider that this is the month of this year where you stand in that stance of your power. If you want to study something about how to do that, go out in nature. Watch how birds, how dogs, cats, horses, cows, you name it, will stand in their power and not have a reaction. They know that the reaction is just going to create this tumultuous, catapulting thing to more losing of power or less connecting to your own power, and for those other species that are doing their best to maintain their power as well. Just to share a little anecdotal evidence of this, just this week, a horse was added at a ranch, and I got to witness what happens when you add a horse to a herd. How do they handle that? I'm the new guy. These other two are super alpha. What's going to happen to me when I step into that small little paddock and I have to figure out a way to get along, and they're going to try and figure out a way to get along, perhaps, never know. No different than in the humanity, where we go into a new community, we join, and we decide, you know what, let's just be receptive to this experience. You go to a new job, a new career. You could be going to a new event, for that matter, a sport event, and walking into the crowd and feeling disconcerted because you don't know where your power is. It's always on. You are never disassociated from it. You are never not connected to it. Nobody can take your power. You have to give permission to become less connected to it. So the misnomer often that you'll hear out there is you gave your power away. Impossible. We don't give our power away. We become less connected to our power. So watch animals. In this case, this horse went into this paddock. He stood his ground. He wasn't mean. He wasn't violent. He wasn't trying to lash out at the other two horses. He just stood his ground. They even came up and came behind him. How many times would you like to have a perfect stranger coming up behind you without you turning around to connect and say, what are you doing? This horse stood its ground, not a big horse, probably 15 hands, just a gentle Arab, and stood his ground, and these horses came up and came up. Now, if I witnessed one coming at him and about to take a bite, yeah, I'm gonna stand up for him. I'm gonna say, get back there. You can't do that, right? And we can all do this in community. Wherever you are, if you're seeing something where it's getting to that level, where there's a confrontation about to happen or a dispute, where you can step up and say, hey, what are you doing? Check that. And in this case, the other two horses listened. The horse stood his stance, and until he felt like I can back out of this and turn around and move comfortably and peacefully, I'm gonna just be here in myself, with myself. Guess what? He didn't get bitten, he didn't get kicked. He didn't get pelted with anything, even though he was in very tight quarters and he could have had that reaction. He decided, you know what, I'm just gonna stand here. Let them get used to me on their terms. Because a lot of it's about that, is letting people assess you. People are gonna judge. Animals don't judge. They just assess energy. We actually, at our base core level, that's what we're doing. We're assessing energy. However, the minute you put a filter on it, or that your human spin on it, of if it looks like this, it must be that. Animals don't do that. Animals just read energy. Oh, it feels violent. Or it feels like this horse is just wanting to have peace with us. Okay, I guess we're just gonna stand here with him in that, right? So consider that April is a less judgment, for sure. Checking in, saying, do I have a filter on this somewhere that I'm looking at the person expecting them to treat me this way? I'm anticipating that they are going to be kind to me? Or am I really putting something out there to say, they're gonna treat me like everybody else has treated me up until this point because it's this position that I'm in? So, and if we do put that out there, guess what you're gonna get? That's exactly what you're gonna get in April and forevermore. So come back to this and say, okay, wait a minute. If I just stand in my power, it's not this volatile, eruptive kind of thing, right? Because that's not really power, that's coming from no power feeling. And just holding and maintaining that, reflecting that back to others. Guess what? With me, you get to be in your power. I'm not doing anything to help you disconnect from it or make you think you ever are disconnected from it. I'm standing here holding it for you. You can connect to it at any time, stronger and stronger. I welcome that, right? Have at it, see what happens. Family, community, work peeps, wherever you go, reflect that back instead. And every time that we reflect something back to another person at those frequency states, it only gives back to ourselves at the same time to remind ourselves, or reminding ourselves of that as well. Here's a little question that comes up every once. What's the difference between vibrations and frequencies, right? Because we talk about both. Your frequency state that you're choosing, 0 to 900 and above, are those areas of, you start at the bottom, talking guilt, shame, depression, and then as you're going up the bowl of the speeds of frequency, you're heading into love, you're heading into joy and bliss, and just these states of where nothing can get to you. Why? Because you're in your state of power, which is the love aspect, right? You're light. What are your vibrations? It's the vibrations that are coming out of those states, whatever you're radiating. So you could be in a frequency, you're traveling down the freeway to get to your job and you're feeling the 500. You're in the love state, or the frequency, I should say. It's a frequency state. And you get to work, and all of a sudden you're starting to notice you're vibrating differently, right? You can still feel that state around, but your vibration is starting to get a little weaned on you. You're thinking, what's going on here? The vibration that goes out then to others is that choice that you're making of where you're holding your frequency state. So those vibrational energy patterns that you're sending out and emitting at the time of those frequency states are what people are picking up on. So you can keep going along and having this intention, I'm gonna stay in my peace, I'm gonna stay in my power, I'm gonna reflect love, I'm gonna reflect, I don't care what comes at me, I'm not gonna take it personally. Wherever the person's decision of that state of in their being that day, their life that day, That's the vibrations they're emitting to you. You don't have to take them personally. That's just where they are. That's how they're choosing that day. It is perfectly okay. But as long as you realize, oh wow, this is not about me at all, this is just where they are, all of a sudden it pulls all of that content that's getting flashed at you. You don't feel your like this, frequency spinning down. You're like this. Guess what? They have an opportunity to come and meet you there again. So it's on all of us. Maintain your power, in your peace, and your love, and watch what happens. All right, this is Jeannie from Blaha, Colorado. Take a walk with your angels, enjoyflames.com. Feel free to share this video if you feel that it could help somebody this month. All right, morning. Take care. Love ya.